just to be clear before we start, I just want to make it just clear. As for now, the UK economy is not in its worst condition, but just in case of a black swan, or let's say just in case of a global case that could take place, could find the UK economy in a really, really a dark place, if you ask me. But to understand what's taking place, straight to understand that the UK economy, as for now, is really scary. I'm not saying it's doing fine. I'm not saying it's doing the best, but it's kind of scary. And it's not in its worst, but it's really intimidating in simple terms. Like, it's not in the best shape that one could describe the UK economy or the United Kingdom economy as for now. But let's try to understand why is the UK economy not doing great. Because the way we look at the UK economy today, it looks like it's in a kind of a what would you call a stagnation, a kind of economy that's not on its best tutorial or in its best conditions. Like, we would try to understand, or we should try to make it feel like, okay, in simple terms, we should look at the raising, because what has been raising concern the last few days has been the UK bonds, the bond crisis. In simple terms, the UK bond crisis rose almost by, they say, almost 4.7 as of today. And they said it's kind of, we should be saying that the UK economy, just of May, the GDP performance was almost 0.1%, indicating stagnation, like a slow in the economy, a slow kind of an economy that anyone would try to be talking about in simple terms. We should be looking at the economy that we'll be saying, like, if you look at the 10-year yield, the 10-year yield almost rose to 4.63% in simple terms. Then the 30-year yield went up to 5.7%. See, it will be okay for the UK economy to be raising bonds to make them attractive for the investors. But here's the worst part of all. The worst part of all will be like, we should look at what we'll be calling how should I call it? We should look at the global economy, or look at the countries like the US, look at the Japan. These countries are doing more. They're also under the competition of today. Has today the UK is, I think, providing the best bond deals as of now, which is kind of stressing too. But there's competition for other countries that if you look at the US, if you look at the Japan, these countries are also the EU itself. These countries are also raising their bonds. What I'm trying to say, or what I'm trying to implement, is like, the UK economy right now, if it still has that chance, I don't know, it's really having a chance to fight, or they really ready to respond to that fight. In simple terms, what I'm trying to say, like, as for now, the UK economy is slanting, but not really slanting. It's not in a form that you'll be saying like it's truly going down. But we should try to understand 2 or 3 things in simple terms. Like, as for now, the UK economy doesn't sit in the right seat, like, to be saying like it's doing fine. Okay. For now, we could describe it as someone who's settled, like, with some little cash and be like, yeah, I don't need to work. I don't need to work out. My weight is still okay. Yes, I've gained some weight, but I don't need, you're getting. That's what the UK economy looks like today. But in the long run, and the way how it's looking like, it could gain more weight that you would find yourself obese. What I'm trying to mean, that you could find yourself getting yourself stagnant, like, where? Because today the UK is predicted to be growing by almost 1.1% or to 1% year over year GDP. That's the prediction. And 1.1%, UK used to grow almost 3%, 4% years ago. And that's how it used to perform. But if you look at it today and how it's performing, it leaves you in a way, or a condition where you start thinking like, is the UK really heading for a recession, or is the UK a right place to be? If you look at the what we'll be looking at, the UK inflation. The UK inflation is almost 3.7, 3.8%. Okay, with the goal of 2%. That's almost 1.8 far away from the achievement. If you ask me, that's that's really not the best case scenario. You cannot say that it's in the best scenario. Like, I don't know how, because I'm trying to be open minded. I'm not trying to say that the UK is doing this. I'm not predicting anything, but I'm just looking at the numbers as the numbers are as overall. To make things to be kind of sour, let's look at the unemployment. Unemployment rose almost to 4.7%. Okay, and almost just so it was say almost last month, almost 135k jobs were kind of lost. I mean, the UK economy has the way it's related to the US economy. Because I don't know, because these guys are friends or brothers. I don't know how can implement this in the right way, but we should try to understand that almost 13% of the youth are not employed and not into education. 13%. Okay, almost it said almost 1.7% people are not almost employed at all. Like, you know where I'm going. You get where I'm going. In simple terms, you should try to understand that the UK economy is not in its best shape. Like, anyone would come up and say, like, yeah, we should be thinking of investing in the UK, or we should be trying to do anything like in the UK. It's not something like you wanna be talking about, like, oh, predictably wise. So you try to say it's in its best state. And the involvement, UK is pro-Ukraine. The involvement of the UK to be funding the Ukraine war, I don't feel like on this overspending you're doing, you still wanna go for something like a war. I don't wanna talk about politics and wars, whatever. I like talking about the economy as the economy, because I involving myself in the police is my thing. But let's try to understand something. UK getting itself involved in the just as for now, it's not yet involved in the Ukraine war initially, like directly, you know. But if just imagine if the UK economy right now, that's what I was talking about in the beginning, like a black swan. Imagine getting yourself involved in the Ukraine war and they be like, yeah, now we are spending more money on the Ukraine. I mean, just imagine Trump just kicked himself out and be like, I'm I don't know what's really out or he's playing, because you can never take Trump's word like into something good to us. But the way how he felt, like he said he has been overspending on Ukraine. I don't know if that's really impacted his economy. But just look at the state of the UK. So yes, even the UK economy, even the US economy is not doing fine. But just look at the UK economy. UK economy right now, it's an economy that needs a callback, that needs to be revised, needs to be rehandled. Like, because the state of the UK economy is not something that you should be looking for an inconvenience or another stack of load on it. I mean, I'm not speaking generally to politics, but I'm trying to speak about economists. If you look at the UK economy as the way it stands has for now, we should try to understand that getting yourself involved in the funding of a war is gonna weaken or almost blow out the US the UK economy in simple terms. Because the way you look at it and the way it comes out to be seen in simple terms, it leaves you in a mind mood or a behavior where you feel like it's heading for the worst in simple terms. We are not here to predict what's the future do, because the future could come up with a boom. If you look at how foreign investors are getting off they're not buying, because the UK today has been depending on the foreign buyers who buy the UK bonds, but today they have been prominently falling down, like decreasing from the US gilt. The UK gilt. I'm sorry to use the US. The UK gilt in simple terms. But in simple terms, we should try to understand that this gilt, if no one's buying the UK gilt, it keeps the UK economy in a concerning mode. If you look at the capital flights that getting out of the UK are getting concerning. We have seen rich people living in the UK, everything because of the high taxes there. Everything is just simply kind of a mess. And a lot of this needs to be revised. There's like fully revised. If you ask me for now, the UK would feel like very soon they may need a QE or a quantitative use in simple terms, like because the economy needs a callback. It feels like it needs someone to restrain the economy in simple terms. Like there's gonna be global yield competition with the high taxes, with everything. The UK economy needs to be like to kind of be revised at least for once and for all in simple terms. Well, all I can say, I cannot add more, but thanks for watching. And if you like, you really like what you're watching here, like and subscribe because we'll be talking more about the UK economy and the global economy mostly. Yeah, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.